Hang on. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Heartful Mind Heavy. I think we're now on episode 4
Of season two.
of season 2. How amazing! So we are so excited to have this amazing lady with us today. God, all the words. What is there? Vibrant, ignited.
Vivacious,
Oh, I like that.
confident,
Yes,
lush,
absolutely.
babe,
Um,
babe.
but yeah, which will all
Why,
become
I man.
apparent in a minute. So we have the amazing Laura Brunton in the house.
Happy ladies, what a privilege this is to be on the other side of the screen from you two, you absolute powerhouses.
Oh,
Congratulations on the success of the podcast so far. You've done so well.
oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
So before we get into it, we thought it probably makes sense for our listeners to kind of understand how the three of us have kind of come together. So I first met you, Laura. Well, you actually popped out of a video screen on a LinkedIn post, probably back in 2023. And I think all those words we described for you, literally, you were that vibrant, vivacious, colourful, and you just popped out. And I was like, who the hell is this woman? But in a really positive, good way. So I followed you, I stalked you. Um, then I think we had a few conversations. I attended one of your networking things, which was my first networking event face to face.
Ah.
And then that's how I came into your world. And then obviously I became a client of yours. And when I came on the Ignited Accelerator program. So Alex, how did you meet Laura?
I'll never forget meeting Laura. So I used to look after this beautiful retreat in Suffolk, and basically well, more Laura's friend than mine, the lovely Mel Shilling from Channel 4, Maths.
Yes.
Mel Shilling wanted to host, and with alongside Laura and another lady wanted to host a retreat
Yep.
for entrepreneurial women, boss babes, that kind of thing. And I met them on site to show them around. And because it was Mel, obviously we'd done a big thing and we had afternoon tea, didn't we? And we had a lovely, lovely show around. Do you remember when I fell back onto the sofa? We were
I
looking
do
around by the
remember that
bar. So it's a little
clearly.
bit like
Yes,
it's called Retreat East, isn't it? And it's we can get to it in a sec because you did end up holding the event there. We
we
had a little
did.
look around that was like a bit like Soho farmhouse kind of
Right.
vibe. So like barns, cottages with tin baths outside, that sort of vibe. And we were showing them around, and I tripped over my own foot, ADHD, and fell backwards. And then Mel got in the bath, didn't she? And we had some funny
Yeah.
photos, but we just click straight away? Like,
We were already in love by that point. Well,
oh,
as
so
soon
in
as,
love.
thank you so much, by the way, for those beautiful compliments, which I can absolutely bounce straight back off you two, because you are both that and more. And particularly, Alex, with that meeting, as soon as you walked in, I was like, bloody hell, she's gorgeous. Who's she? And then you opened your mouth, and I was like, she's Northern. And then straight away, we were like, yep, 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 yep.
We didn't shut
And I
up, did
don't,
we?
we didn't, but don't you just love that? Like,
Yeah,
how lucky are we as women that we get to meet women that we might never cross paths with ordinarily, but
I
they come
know.
into our world, and I think you can just fall so hard, so deeply, so quickly. And then luckily, we have been the kind of friends where we've stuck, haven't we? And like you say, a
Yeah,
couple of years later, still going strong. So
yeah.
yes, I am so grateful for all of those opportunities that brought
It's
us
been
together.
amazing. Obviously, I've helped you plan a few events, in London,
Yeah.
obviously the one at the retreat, stayed in
Mhm.
contact with lovely Mel as well. And then you
Yeah.
invited me onto one of your virtual networking events, and that is how I met Deb. So I
Yes.
knew Laura before you.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. And literally,
That
that's
was
when that,
so funny because you two realised you were only one street away from each other,
Yeah,
weren't you?
yeah.
yep.
Like,
Kids in
what's
the
the
same
chances of
school,
that?
everything. Yeah.
And so,
Nuts.
literally, Laura, you are kind of responsible for Heartful Mind Heavy.
And this mad friendship we've got, where she's basically
Oh.
like my mum, my PA, my confidant, my agony aunt, everything. You like my own chat GBT as well. She answers all my questions. Don't know how she puts up with me. But it's
Love
lovely
you too.
because
I'm
now our
so
families are
happy.
friends. We've got
Yeah.
our daughters are friends, like our husbands know each other. I'm really good friends with your husband Andy now. So
Yeah.
it's been wild, hasn't it?
Yeah. All down to you.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy. I mean, yeah, I just gave it a nudge, but the stars aligned when you two came along. So over the moon, ladies.
Oh,
So, let's dive right into it.
yeah.
So, kind of. the reason we've got you on this pod. So Alex and I did our entrepreneurial podcasts back in season 1.
Yeah.
Alex took us through the journey because you were very new into setting up your business, weren't you?
Mm.
I was about 2 years into it, and we both said straight away we needed you on.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're further down the line than us, but you've had that experience of the corporate world, setting up your business. And I think the one thing that we kind of resonated with you was the fact that you're there to help women, and your mantra is no woman left behind. So can you take us back, probably before the business, to those early days of who Laura was, who she is, how we've got to here today, and yeah, all of that.
Fabulous. I would love to. Thanks so much. So, my official title now is CEO of a global coaching and community business. So, we ignite vibrant women just like you to grow and scale a business that they love. And we do that through one-to-one coaching, group coaching, and events. My other titles, which are more important, are also mama. I'm a mama of 3. So I've got 2 boys and a girl, 11, 8, and 3. So it is safe to say that life is just bonkers. I'm also wife to Jeff. We've been together for over 20 years, and he's also our co-founder. So him and I are in business together. So it's a real family affair there. I'm also the older sibling of 3, and I love my mum and my siblings so much. I'm from the northeast of England. So without boring everybody too much, I mean, it's been a wild ride. I was in human resources for many years, 15 or so years. I did that. I did some consultancy, worked for some big companies, lived and worked in Australia for a while. And I really think that now, as a 43-year-old woman, I have never felt better. I've never felt stronger. I've never felt more on purpose, more aligned, and more lit up by doing good work with good people. And I think that has taken me decades to be able to get to this point. I think, as a lot of us do, like you grow up, you study. I went on to do business degree at university and then a master's, and then I became qualified in CIPD. But when I really locked on to who am I and what would I be doing if I wasn't getting paid for it? Like, what's the stuff I could just talk about all day long? I'm so passionate. I'm always learning about it. It's helping people. Like, that was for sure what I've been put on this earth to do. And I know it's very much so the same as you two. I've got such a big heart, a big personality. And I wanted to find a way that I could use my superpowers for good and I didn't have to be anybody else. And when I was in corporate, as much as I loved it, and I'm so grateful for all of those experiences that got me to where I am now, it was often the case of putting on that corporate mask and like dialing down my personality a little bit. I mean, I couldn't rock up on a Monday board meeting in a hot pink jumpsuit, put it that way. I'd be like suited and booted and be boring like black, navy, or
But
grey
now you
suits. But
can.
exactly right. But I'd have like little pops of colour here and there. But all of us have been told we're too much at some point, haven't we?
Oh God, yeah.
Like too bubbly, too playful, too fun, too positive, too optimistic, too northern, too kind, too much of a hugger. All of the things I can now actually say they are my superpower and I will never be too much again. And actually, sometimes it's a case of other people aren't enough for us, are they? When we're
Yeah.
around those people where we've got to dim our lights. Now that you've both spoken extensively about this on your podcast. So yeah, we've travelled loads from the northeast. We live in the southeast now. We live in Oxfordshire. We've got no family around us, so things are really tough. Like, we know we're right in the thick of it at the moment. We're 3 kids who want different things, who want our attention in different ways. The
Yeah.
business is growing and growing, which is absolutely wonderful. I'm so grateful. And I know we're going to get on to some more like real talk as we go, but that's not to say that I'm hanging on by my fingertips, put it that way. I haven't got it all figured out. It's not always like the Instagram filter, like, oh, I should have asked if I could swear on this in advance, but I'm sure that's okay. Like, shit
Don't
happens,
worry.
doesn't it? Like, the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, not every day is all sunshine and unicorns. Like, we've all got
Yeah.
to dig deep a lot. I still have moments, I would say every day, where I have a wobble, But what I'm really pleased about now is it's the tiniest of wobble. Like it'll be just a thought that'll flash through my mind. Why are you doing this, Laura? Why are you putting yourself out there? Like, why are you working so hard? Just go back to corporate, just take the salary. But I know I'll never do that because we can all do hard things, right? And I think it's a case of choosing your hard. And I've chosen mine, and actually, it's bloody brilliant. And I'm so grateful for the life and the opportunities and the people that it's given me.
But this is so relevant for what we've been talking about lately. Like even
Completely.
last week with our guest, who's a veteran from the army, we
Wow.
talked about everyone thinks they've got a ceiling, but you
Mm.
can smash through that ceiling. You can smash through those barriers. You are your own blocker
Yeah.
if you choose to be. And like you just said then about, sometimes I think, oh, I should do this, should I go back and do that? You get imposter, and if you met you go, no, she's totally confident, totally knows her purpose, and you do, but it doesn't stop us all having those wobbles. I mean, I'm only what 4 5 months into my business. Naturally, that I'm having a wobble all the time. You still get wobbles about
Oh
yours.
God, all the time.
It doesn't mean it's a better alternative to go back doing what we were doing. It's about pushing through, and turning those negative thoughts into a positive spin. And like, what can I do with it to
Yeah,
push on further, keep going, isn't it?
absolutely, absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
if more women knew that, they could be really successful doing what they actually love.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not about the absence of doubt, or it's not about the absence of having that rock solid confidence. It's actually knowing all of that and at the same time going, I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I can do this.
yeah.
And if you think about it without going too deep, especially as women, if you think about the last 100 or so years, but in particular the last 20 to 30 years, our roles in society have changed dramatically, more
Hmm.
so than any other time in millennia. And how brilliant is it that as women, we can have it all? We can do it all. We can choose to have kids or not have kids. We can choose to be in a relationship or whether or not we want to see 5 people or we don't want to see anybody at all. Like gender, physical location, we could just pick up now and go and move on the other side of the world if we wanted
Yeah.
to. The opportunity, and obviously, I'm very aware that I'm speaking this as like a white, privileged woman in Western society. Sadly, not all women in the world have these opportunities, as we
Mm.
know. With that, and with that, I should say, comes additional pressures, comes additional challenges. If you think about in society, a lot of us, and like we all live away from our parents, we've moved away. So we haven't got that village, we haven't got the tribe with us.
Yeah.
And even just by virtue of us stepping out of the norm and moving away from our people, then if that's why it's so important to surround yourself with other people that are on a similar journey to you who are taking the same kind of risks and getting yourself into the same kind of environments as you are, because the temptation to retreat and go back to that safe life, whatever that looks like, and again, no disrespect at all to like the 9 to 5ers. I was one for many, many years, and we know that our society and economy needs people who do work for other people and who do great jobs. It's brilliant that if you look at that and if you look at the facts sometimes that's your brain telling you why you're taking this risk, why you open yourself up to rejection, opening yourself up to criticism. Are you going to be a good mum? Like, are your kids going to look back in years to come and go, mum, you were never there for me, or you were always on your phone, or you were being selfish and you were putting yourself first and you were getting dressed up and going to all of these glamorous events, or whatever that might be. And I think it's a really interesting time to be alive. But the more as just not even just women, as people, we can normalize and have conversations about the tough times as well as the good times when it does look all fun and sparkly, like the better we are as a community and as a society as well.
Yeah, love that, love that. So
Yeah.
when you decided to step away from corporate and start this journey, what were those days like for you? Because obviously we know kind of what our days were like and we're kind of probably closer to them. But what were like those first early days? Because it's very easy, and I know we talked about this when we sort of did our little tester thing. It's very easy for people to look at you now and go, yeah, but you've got it all together, Laura. You've got this amazing, successful business.
Yeah.
You've got all these clients, you're charging X amount of money and all this lot. But obviously, day one, Laura's gone, right, I'm setting up this business. How did that journey happen?
I can only summarize that first. year to 2 years has been a wild roller coaster. The highs were so glorious and high, like, oh my God, the dopamine hit when
Yeah,
you land that amazing client, when that opportunity comes off, when the money hits your bank account that otherwise you might have had to work like 1 or 2 months to get that level
yeah,
of money. Oh, it's addictive, isn't it? The buzz, you're like, yes, this is what everybody bangs on about. Why wasn't I doing this years ago?
yeah,
Equally, the laws, oh my God. Like there were times when there was one time we had 56 pence in our business account. And because Jeff and I are in the business together, that is one income. There's
yeah.
nothing else that's
Wow.
coming in. And that is really sobering. And
Yeah.
you'll have heard me say it a lot, failure isn't an option for us. Like we can't fail.
Yeah.
Because if we fail, it's going to get really scary. We've got 5 mouths to feed, a mortgage to keep over our head, bills to pay, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill, don't you? As do so many of your listeners. That, conversely, has actually been our superpower and our top driver because it's forced us to get sharp and really good really quickly. Jeff and I are both like sponges. We're always learning, pushing ourselves, listening to other people, and taking action. I think that's one of our biggest strengths. But that also came from a place of, at times, desperation.
Mm.
Because we were like, crap, if we don't actually get some money coming in soon, we might have to go to family members and borrow money, or God, we're going to have to like dramatically cut back, or blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it has been a roller coaster ride. And then to throw in 2 months into business, I got pregnant with our third child. So, I mean, we'd been trying for her for years, and I've been really open about it. Hopefully, it doesn't upset or trigger anybody, but I think this is important too. I'd miscarried in between all of our kids. So we've got the big age gaps. But having her and just knowing that I was growing that life in my belly, I was like, come on, girl, you've got this. Like, let's show the kids that we can do this and we can still be on the school runs and we don't have to be like I was before in corporate, having that six-figure salary and the big job title and the fancy car on the drive. But I'd be up and out by 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes. I wouldn't
That's
even
no
get a kiss.
balance with a young
Yeah,
family.
exactly right,
Yeah,
babe. And you've experienced this as well, Alex,
yeah,
haven't you?
of course.
Um, so yeah, I would say to anybody, it's all of your emotions are valid. All of the oscillation between the highs and the lows, it's normal. And what I will say is they start to reduce. So they never completely go away. But instead of, if you could see me now, I'm doing like the curve going really high, like
Yeah,
that roller
yeah,
coaster. It's you get smaller bumps and
yeah.
it becomes more predictable. So you know yourself, Deb, don't you, when you grow your business? If I take these actions, like if I get onto LinkedIn, if I do the DMs, if I do the posts, if I talk to every man, woman, and dog on the school run and the queue at Sainsbury's, at the doctors about, do you know anybody that needs VA support or whatever it might be? You're constantly putting out there into the universe all of that good energy and opening yourself up to opportunities, and they will come back. So yeah, just let's keep on normalizing the fact that you don't just start a business and then overnight you become a six-figure business with 10,000 followers. Like that is just BS. And
Mhm.
anybody who's trying to sell you that, I'm sorry, but that's fraudulent. It's just
Yeah,
like there's only the top percentages that will ever reach those heights in terms of money and reach and being an influencer, whatever that looks like. So log on to what is your version of normal
Yeah.
that that becomes achievable for you rather than comparing yourself against everybody else on the internet who will have a completely different set of circumstances for you
yeah.
and who actually might not be being completely truthful. Because unfortunately, there's, especially in the online space, there's a lot of people who we don't know if what they're saying is true or not.
Exactly.
And we could all get sucked in, can't we?
You can. And do you know what? I like to think I've done it the right way because where you said then there is a large portion of people that will, the driver for them is like the followers, being the influencer, having this
Yeah.
business grown overnight, everyone know who I am, being flooded with client requests. I done it the way round where I thought, right, what do I enjoy doing? Well, I enjoy working with hotel brands. I enjoy training salespeople. I enjoy bringing business into hotels and all that. And then I was like, right, and you help me, Deb. So I was like, well, how many hours do I want to do this each
Mm.
week? And then I
Mm-hmm.
thought, okay, how many bills do we have that I
Yeah.
specifically need to cover? Obviously, my husband's got, two very
Yeah.
good jobs, but I still need to bring income into the house, yeah? So I've done it that way. I built my business model around the fact, well, this is how many hours I want to do. I want to do school runs. I want to be there for my kids. I want to do
Mm.
football practice and all those things.
Hmm.
This is who I'd like to work with. This is my demographic. And I built it
Yeah.
around that. I didn't go, I want to look after X amount of hotels and be the only person that does this, this, and this. I thought, I'm happy to sit and do this in the shadows as long
Hmm.
as I've got a nice number of clients that I trust and that I work with. I'm bringing enough money to cover this and have a nice lifestyle as well. And feel like I'm really contributing because for 6 or 8 weeks I didn't contribute because I was having my career break,
Yeah.
wasn't
Hmm.
I?
Yeah.
Air quote. And that's how I've done it. If I can get to 10,000 followers, and that's a bonus for me. But
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
my model was built around doing my job at my pace to suit my
Hmm.
family.
Hmm.
Um, at the money that I deserve to make based on 20 years of
Yeah.
experience in the industry.
And can we just talk about followers? Because like it's quite interesting. When I was on holiday in Devon in August, we met up with Andy's boss and her husband, and we were
Yeah.
talking about the podcast and things like that. And he was saying, isn't it funny that everyone's striving to have, oh my God, you've only got X amount of hundred, or you've only got 1,000, and
Hmm.
you need to hit 1 million. But actually, if you had 200 people in a room with you right
Yes.
now, if we had, like, if there's 100 people listening to this and they were in the room with us, we'd be like, this is a successful event.
Yeah,
Why is it
yeah,
that, like, suddenly online it's like you've got to have 1 million followers before you're successful? It's
yeah,
like, where does that come from? And it's kind of made me actually take stock a bit instead of looking at it and being, oh my God, this person. And like you said, it's that whole swim in your own lane. Don't
Yeah,
get, the sparkly things over here because you don't
absolutely.
know what they're doing. But yeah, I have sort of started to come back a bit and not be so, right, I've only got X amount of hundred, but like this
Yeah.
person over here's got 10,000 because actually that's irrelevant.
it's hugely unproductive as well to look at
Yeah.
how someone else is doing. You know you're doing it.
Hmm.
And that's what I was trying to say. Like I'm doing it my way. If there's someone else doing my job with a different name and they've got 5,000 followers, doesn't mean their clients are any better than mine. It just
Mm.
means
No,
they're probably having more time to do social media than me. But
Amen, sister. And I think what you've both landed on there is a really healthy sense of perspective where you can keep your feet on the ground. And it always comes back to, it sounds brutal, it's what's going to bring the money in, what's going to pay those bills. And I think when Instagram and TikTok and everything else took off, I think it's legitimately you can make money from being an influencer, which is what's driving people to
yeah,
have those huge follower counts. Again, that is for the minority, not the majority, isn't it?
exactly.
Like we haven't got influencer-led business. We want to look into the whites of our clients' eyes and see the impact that we're making in their lives and that beautiful ripple effect that will spread from the great work that we're doing. And because, like you said, everything is online, we think we've got access to all the same information as everybody else. And very sadly, there's so much that goes on with like engagement pods where people commenting on each other's stuff. You've got chatbots, you've got loads of like
Mhm.
I have not even looked into this. It blows my mind the stuff that is going on out there that people are doing, which actually ultimately I feel really sad for those people that are
yeah,
having to engage in those tactics. And I think I've talked about this before, but I said it as a joke one day, but it's really stuck for me and our clients is I talk about the pillow test. And that's where when you put your head on the pillow at night, you want to be looking back on your day and going, have I been a good person?
hmm,
Have I made a positive impact on at least one person? Have I tried to be in the moments with the resources that I've got available and the environment that I'm in, the best mum that I can be, the best
yeah,
wife, the best daughter, the best sister, the best friend? And when you close your eyes and then you wake up on that same pillow the next morning, you go, right, I can learn from yesterday. And you know what? Today I get to do it again.
yeah,
And very sadly, I think when you end up in a situation where you either acting out of desperation or there's something more sinister at play and you're deliberately trying to mislead people, that is not a nice headspace to be in, is it? Because we're in our own heads 24/7, aren't we? No matter what we're projecting onto the public or what we're doing when we hit live or we share the posts or we take the pictures,
Yeah.
we have got to be alone with ourselves at the end of the day. And I am done with trying to be somebody that I'm not. And I think some of it does come with age. And I think it's almost like a rite of passage. You've got to go through your own heartbreaks and your own experiences. I've been going to loads of events of late, and I was talking to this woman about how much like I love the sisterhood and I love working with women. I love the communities that we're building and also that we're part of. And she was like, do you mind if I share something with you? She went, this kind of stuff freaks me out. And sadly, her daughter was being really badly bullied by other women. So she said,
Oh,
my experience is I actually get scared in female only spaces because she's picking up what's happening with her daughter. And then she was like, I was actually quite a shy kid. So, like, big rooms, that would freak her out. Whereas for me, I'm like, drop me in a room anywhere. I don't need to know a single soul. I'll have best friends like within 10 minutes. I love that stuff. Obviously, very highly extroverted. But that's not to say that you can't still have that beautiful passion and your own superpowers for what you believe in and not have been either bullied. I was horrifically bullied at school, and I've had instances in my adult life and in my business life where unfortunately women who I loved and trusted have turned against me.
yeah,
But you go through that and you
yeah.
grieve and you go through all of the pain and then you come out of it stronger. And I think that's really important for everybody listening to think, what is your own version of your own pillow test? Because you need to
Yeah,
be able to look yourself in the mirror. And equally, like if you've got that whisper that's starting to become a roar now, which says you're meant for more than this,
yeah.
you can do more things. Come on, you're playing it safe. Like take the leap. Either like go and date somebody different or get out there and run that marathon or start that business, whatever it looks like, be honest with yourself as much as possible. And it might be that you've got to give yourself the grace to go, do you know what? Now isn't the right time for me to actually push the button on that, to quit the job, to leave my marriage, to I don't know, to walk away from a toxic relationship, a toxic friendship. But be honest with yourself and know that that is something that you do need to get around to, because the more we lie to ourselves, the darker life can get, because we're living somebody else's life ultimately if we do that.
This is such a powerful
Really,
conversation,
really
and I
powerful.
can relate in so many ways. The toxic friendship tick that's been in the last year or two. Um, the start of my own business. I mean, I what you
Mm,
said then about the pillow test. I was going to, obviously, you know, my struggles I've got with my daughter and also now my son. I was going to bed at night. And if I was to ask myself in the pillow test, for example, that have I done a really good job today? Yeah. I've just scraped through. Like I've literally got the kids to where they need to be. But have
mm,
I been a good mum today? No, I haven't, because I've just dropped and ran to get myself into this corporate world. I've had to leg it to the train, leaving them
yeah,
crying at the door. That didn't
yeah,
sit right with me.
yeah.
Whereas when I think about how I've like managed to transform that in a few short months, I do genuinely lie in bed at night and think, yeah, it's not been perfect. Oh, I could have called a few more clients. I could have
Of
replied to that
course.
email a bit better. But have I been a good present mum? Yes. I took them to school, I picked them up, I made them a lovely dinner. We done football training, and then I still got a chance to come back and do some more emails. Oh, and I've walked the dog and restocked the fridge. You know, all that kind of stuff. I
Exactly.
would never have been able to do all that before. And it is
Yeah.
about taking control. And that comes with when you said about, leaving a toxic relationship or friendship,
Mm.
same thing.
Yeah,
I could lie in bed at night and go, but do I need to keep chasing this friendship? What is this serving me now? But I think it comes with age, Laura. Like it's
It
about
does
knowing
do.
yourself. Something happens to a woman in her mid to late 30s, approaching 40, where something just shifts. And
absolutely.
especially if you're someone like, I know Laura, you'll relate to this. I've
Mm.
I've tried to be someone else for far too long. And this was where I was. And that attracted the wrong friendships. Probably when I was younger, the wrong
Yeah,
relationships, the wrong lifestyle, just everything.
100%.
And then when you make that change and realize that, right, I'm going to be myself now, and I don't care who turns against me and turns their back on me, they don't deserve a seat at my table. If they're not going to be here, and I know I'm talking like Laura right now, but
I love it.
I'm talking like
Amen.
something just shifts in a woman. And it's happened to me. I reckon 2 years ago it happened to
Yeah,
me, and it's still happening every day. And then I know that I'm already looking back to the person I was, and I'm thinking, God, she'd be proud of me.
Yeah.
But at the
Mm.
time, you can't imagine changing because that's always who you've always been.
No, and I think you're absolutely right. And funny enough, I was going to pick up on that whole age thing. I mean, because I'm older than both of you ladies.
Oh, a big sis.
I'm closer to 50.
Oh, okay.
And looking fabulous for it, darling.
But I think there is that element where you just get to that point where you just don't care anymore. I don't mean you don't care, because obviously there are
Not
things
about
you
not,
care,
yeah, you
but
don't
there's
no longer put
certain,
an effort
yeah,
in,
but
but
there's just certain things that would have really upset
yeah,
me or I'd have got really wound up about that I'm just like, no,
Yeah.
like I think even like the trolling and stuff like touch wood,
Mhm.
thankfully I've not had anything like that or anything, and I'm sure there are people out there that have a horrific
mm,
stuff,
Yeah.
and I get that. But even like I think I had one comment with somebody that basically was just almost like, well, don't know why you bothered doing that. Why do we need to know that? And I was just like, I'm not even going to respond to you because like
yeah.
rock
And
on.
do you know what? When you realize the power's shifted as well
Yeah,
to your own benefit, is when you don't reply with negativity. You either don't
Yeah.
reply at all, or you turn it into a complete positive in your own
yeah.
mind.
Well, actually, it's interesting because obviously this weekend was a huge weekend in our household with Taylor Swift dropping her new album on Friday. When you've got a Swiftie in the house, but I took her to the cinema yesterday to see the Taylor cinema thing where she's launched her album, and one of her songs is actually quite interesting because it's all about this. Can't remember the exact title, but it's something romantically. And it's actually about somebody being negative to her, and she's actually saying, thank you. Thank you for
Mm.
thinking about me. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, I've not
I
thought about
mattered so
you.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've not thought about you at all, but you've really put a lot of effort. And it was really funny sitting there, just like, I'd just gone along, just like, yeah, I'll take the 11-year-old and sit there. And suddenly I'm thinking, oh my God, this woman's like quite profound. And these lyrics. And then literally the whole premise of the video was that she introed the song and then you listen to it with the lyrics up. And I was just like, this is a song. Like, this is for us. It's so
Of
true.
all ages, not just an 11-year-old Swiftie. In fact, we would relate to it a lot more
Yes.
than an 11-year-old Swiftie would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, completely.
I'll have
I'm
to look into
sure
that.
Emily just it went over her head, but it was amazing. Yeah.
It's great she's learning even at that age, isn't she? That you're not for everyone. And do you know two words that I start coming back to? And it's so funny. If you'd have said this to me as a 20-year-old, I'd have been like, are you a hippie or something? It's inner peace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I think we all now are so much more protective of our inner peace because if we put that out there and we need that validation and we need that attention from other people, we are always on a hiding to nothing because we're outsourcing our power, aren't we?
Yeah.
yes.
And I
100%.
got asked, I was doing a keynote the other day in front of a room full of exceptional women, business owners, all different walks of life. And my keynote was on vibrancy. And I actually changed what the definition of being vibrant was as a result of being in the room with them all day and listening to everybody's stories. And I thought the thing that's now uniting us all is we just want a peaceful life. We just want to feel good. We don't want to be worried about a hand coming on our shoulder at any point and going, you're a fraud, you're a fake, or being called out for something. Because when you do work that speaks to your soul and you're not perfect, but you know you're a good person and you try hard and you'll keep on trying harder tomorrow, then that is the secret to your mental health, your physical health. And I think when we get to our ages of 30, 40, 50 as well, very sadly, you start experiencing death, don't you? And it's not just death of older people, it's death of much loved friends that have been our age as well. And you start to
Yeah,
realise about the fragility of life
yeah,
and that without saying more, but tomorrow's never guaranteed, is it? So we have to make our time on this earth really count.
yeah. Because it's
And
not slowing down.
exactly right, babe. Exactly right. And I think, like, in your late teens, your early 20s, your early 30s, it's all about, oh, what can I do? And I could do this and I should do that. And then when you get into your 40s, it's actually, what can I let go?
Mm.
What can I release? What isn't a part of my core DNA, my fabric?
Yeah.
And that is invigorating. And not everybody is ready for you to feel so unburdened and
Yeah.
free. Because remember, again, without going on a rant, all of society, commercialism benefits from us, particularly as women, feeling broken
Yeah.
or not enough,
Yeah.
or that we need to buy something
Yeah.
to fix something that's not right, whether
Yeah.
that be makeup, courses, clothes, whatever, like self-diagnosing ourselves with things. And a woman who can stand in her power and go, of course I'm not perfect. What even is perfect now? I am enough is a woman that a lot of people are scared of, as we're seeing
Yeah.
unfolding in the world with Trump and politics
Yeah.
and racism and far right and everything that's the war against transgender. Oh my God, like everybody just needs to get a grip. And if we can be good people and just
Yeah.
accept that people can have different opinions from us and that's
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
then the world, like we could all heal the world collectively, couldn't we?
With different opinions. It's
Yeah,
okay to have an opinion. I feel like, and we said this last week, people can't have an opinion anymore. You're right or you're wrong.
Yeah.
There's no way, there's no
yeah,
debate. There's no healthy debate anymore. And I think it's really sad. And one thing that I keep coming back to, which I meant to pick up on earlier, was, about like the hate you get off women and the
yeah.
different trolling and stuff like that. It took me a long time to realize that how a person treats you is a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves, not about you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I wish I would have known that 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, because I would have saved a lot of time fretting about who was going to upset, why someone treated me a certain way, why someone made me feel that way. And now I'm like, okay. I'm not saying I've always acted rightly and that everyone's made mistakes, obviously, and you learn the hard way, but generally
Mhm.
it's a reflection of how they feel about themselves. Otherwise, why would they bother? And
Absolutely.
it's coming back to this Swifty song.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting so much effort into bitching about me to the
Yeah.
point where it's
Yeah,
exhausting.
yeah,
Thank you for letting me even enter your brain. That must
yeah,
mean you think a lot more of me than I do of you,
exactly.
kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah, yeah.
true.
Absolutely.
And if you think about it, it's happened for so long because if you think of like the hierarchy of societies, of how kingdoms were built, of how wealth was built and then kept, it was by the select few at the top holding all of the cards and keeping people down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it was expected that you would have to compete against each other. And if you think about what, even from last century, women being allowed to be in the workplace. I was talking to my mum the other day, and she when she was single before she got married with me, she was allowed to work full time, but anybody in her office who was married could only work part time, and men who had families would get paid more than single women. Like that's in our DNA. Like our parents have lived through that, our grandmothers have lived
Yeah.
through that. So there's still so much where I think as a society, to come full circle to what I was saying before about we can have it all, it's like society hasn't yet caught up. Even our own hardware in our brain hasn't yet caught up because when women would climb on top of each other or rip each other down, it would be because there would only be that one token woman who might be allowed to have that job. And oh, because she's got it, there you go. No, the women will get that position of power.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes we need to come at things and think a bit more critically and think, why am I thinking about that? Is it a me problem? Or is it actually systemically in the society, this is how we're all being and like brought up, and the beliefs we've inherited from our mothers and our grandmothers. Like my mum, love her to death. She's my biggest cheerleader. But she'll still get nervous and go, Laura, just be careful. Like people, if you talk too much about this, people might come for you. Or and I'm like, Mum, I get it. I get it. Because you've lived through that where you've seen women and men tearing each other down. Like it does still exist, but I'm going to work on the basis that there's enough room for everyone. And when one rises, we all rise.
Absolutely. So, how does Jeff fit into all of
Yeah,
this?
how do you work with your husband? Because we
Because
could not.
and also, but it's that, I mean, obviously I've kind of had an insight into this because I've been a part of the program, so I've seen how you two work together. I do have to apologize as well. If you can hear this, I know to our listeners, My dog is being an absolute nightmare today. He's decided today's
You
the
can't
day.
hear it. I can't hear it my
Oh,
side
that's
if it makes
okay.
you feel
He's
better, so don't
decided
worry about it.
he's just in a playful mood. But obviously, yeah, so it's imperfect for the win, isn't it, Laura? Look, this is
It is,
exactly what
darling,
it's
but it'd be
about.
so cute. It's like,
I'm
when am
just
I
going
going
to
to get
crack
my own
on while
podcast?
Alex sorts
Yeah,
him out.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so
No,
going
that's
back
nice.
to fitting Jeff in, like obviously I've seen it. We're talking about the whole female empowerment, and it's very difficult for men to understand that. But how does he fit into all of this? Like, was he in there from day one of the business? Like, you started this business, was he there?
Jeff wasn't in from day one of the business, so he'd taken voluntary redundancy. He used to have an amazing project management job for a big building society. And I was watching him starting to support entrepreneurs. And I'll be honest, I was getting envious slash jealous, whatever emotion, because I could see the freedom and I could see the impact he was having. And I was still slogging it out in corporate. And we've been on Tony Robbins courses. I met Tony Robbins when we lived out in Australia, and we were on this huge personal development journey. So no, we didn't go into it together. From a practical perspective, what started to happen was we've got different skill sets. So I was saying to him, "Oh, can you help me build like a landing page? What the hell is an email system? How do I get it set up? What do I need to be talking about?" Um, and what started to happen was we almost started invoicing each other. And then we just went, "This is crazy. We're going to be filing like separate accounts and everything. And also, I think we could have something really special if we go on this together." But I'll be honest, ladies, like that was a big sacrifice slash risk from Jeff's perspective to he was finally out on his own in the big bank world to go, hang on, I'm going to put that to one side. And then effectively, from what the public would see, I'm going to work for my wife. Because at that time, I was very much so front of house, like it was me doing, and still is to a certain degree, me doing like the videos and the lives and the reels and the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you were the
So for
face of the business, weren't you?
yeah, for sure. And you know what? With that came so much pressure. And I've talked about this, but I think it's a really important point to make again. We went through one of the hardest parts, I would say, in our marriage to date, in our 20-year relationship, because I literally was pregnant, grown a human being. I was responsible for all of the sales. I had to get onto the sales calls. I had to lead the coaching calls. I had to create the content. And I felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders, and that I couldn't have a day off if I had morning sickness, if I didn't feel like it. What I didn't appreciate though was he was the reason why I went so fast and I slash we became so successful for like being a new business owner. It was absolutely because of the systems he was bringing in, the knowledge he was bringing in that I didn't have the time or the inclination to learn. I wasn't bothered about that stuff, but I knew I had to do it. And I think the more time we spent with female business owners, it was just like a light bulb went off, and I thought, oh my God, these women need a Jeff. They would kill for a Jeff. And he is me, like almost aggressively dissing him because I thought because he wasn't literally bringing in pounds and pence to the business, he was lesser than me. And I actually feel sick saying that out loud because, like, you all know how much I love him. But that was the mind frame I was at the time. It was almost because he wasn't bringing in that money as such. But then I realised I couldn't do it without him. And I certainly couldn't do it with doing the school runs and being there for the kids, and also just the emotional support of being able to talk through, like often late into the night, our worries, our fears. So many business owners go through that alone. Like, even if they're
Yeah,
with partners, as
yeah,
you ladies might have experienced, unless they're literally right in it with you, they
Yeah,
don't fully get it. And actually,
yeah,
they're
because
like,
we
can we
don't
talk
tell
about
them
something?
everything, do we? Let's be
Yeah,
honest. Like, I don't, Ryan will go like, oh, how did you call the such and such go? And I'll tell
yeah.
him, oh, brilliant, well done. But then that's conversation over. We don't really dig
yeah,
too deep.
No, and Andy, I mean, he will,
exactly.
by his own recognition, say he doesn't understand, but then he feels because he has that typical man, I need to solve everything. Like if I say,
Yes.
oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, well, why are you doing that? What were you doing that for? Oh, I'm not sure
Yeah.
about that. And it's like,
I
I
get
don't
this.
mean it nastily, babe, but you don't actually know what you're talking about. So,
Yeah. So
but
yes, I def
surely that has to, sorry to interrupt you, Lord, but surely as positive as all that is, like both of you are in the business like 24/7. So does that have negative impacts?
It does, absolutely. So what you'll find is we talk about shop 24/7.
Yeah.
We have very little boundaries in the sense of, I mean, I'm sat here in my living room recording this talk with you. Jeff, bless him, is working from our oldest son's room upstairs. It's not like you can leave your job at home, or do you know what I mean? You leave the office, you drive home, you get out of the car, and then straight away you're into mum and dad mode. And I'm the worst for it. Like, I take full responsibility. I will think about clients, work, opportunities, the to-do list a lot. I find that's one of the things that I want to really continue working on is just go nowhere, just switch it off. So yeah, we do talk about shop a lot. And like I said at the beginning, because we don't have family and like super close friends around us, we're in the pressure cooker all the time.
Mm.
Yeah.
But, and there is a but, which is positive, because otherwise I think that could really damage our marriage long
Well, yeah.
term. Because we've got that rock solid foundation of where we're soulmates, we're best friends, like I love that man so much. We always want to put each other first. And we want the both of us to win. So he will call me out if he thinks that I'm spiraling and I'm focusing on something too much. And then likewise, I'll be like, babe, get yourself out of football. Look, there's nothing we can do about it now. Let's leave it. Let's get the kids to the park. Um, I'm terrible with my phone as well. So I'll still do things like I'll turn my phone off, I'll give it to Jeff and I'll say, will you hide it? And then I can't get at it anymore because you know what it's like. If you spot it, you're like, before you even realize I'm replying to a comment on Instagram, I'm doing a quick story, like sending a quick email off. So yeah, it's not all sunshine. And I know a lot of women who do want to retire their partners or their husbands or whatever that might look like. And what I would say is, as much as possible, try to go into it with your eyes open.
Yeah.
Because what you do need to recognize is it's what are the different skill sets and who's going to do what roles. And also what happens when you can't agree, or what happens if you're disappointed with the other person.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make sure that you can deal with that, hopefully there and then, in a really positive way, without making the argument catastrophic or dragging in everything else? And
Yes.
because we work in our house, we've also got like the drying, the washing, the dishes to do,
Yeah.
the uniforms, like the same as everybody else. But I do want to flip this to say I would not be where I am and where we are as a business without that man, because he's bloody brilliant. And what I'm so
We
pleased
love
about,
Jeff,
nearly
don't we?
5 years, we all love Jeff,
We
don't
do
we?
love Jeff.
What I love as well is our clients and our women get him too. So we've got different energy. We come at things sometimes from different perspectives. So from our client's perspective, you are genuinely getting that 2 for 1. And I think
Yeah.
that is one of our like unique selling points. There's not a lot of people
100%.
that have 2 coaches they can work
Yeah.
with who are obsessed with them, who'll support
Yeah.
them to the nth degree. So everything that used to frustrate me, and I would think is our Achilles heel, is actually our superpower now. Love you,
Definitely. And
Jeff.
we love you, Jeff. And I think as well, Laura, like all the stuff we were saying before, like the things that we'll have been told and are like too much, too loud, too pink, too confident. We're not for everyone, people like us, are we? We're not. And
That's
although
fine.
your demographic of women is very varied, you're still not going to be for everyone. And I think having Jeff there, he may have bits covered that are blind spots for you and
Yeah,
vice versa.
100%.
And I think given those, because you have got very different personalities, even though you're aligned so well on your business techniques and the sort of journey that you've been on and you continue to grow on, you are very different at the end of the day,
Mhm.
and you both provide something to those women. And whereas one
Amazing.
woman may respond to just you, another woman may respond a little bit better to Jeff's tactics. So I think it just
Totally
works
right.
like a seesaw. You just work so well.
Yeah, definitely we do. And when you come to our in-person events as well, Jeff's always got like a flock of women around him,
He
and I
Yeah.
bloody
does.
love it
I've flopped around Jeff
because
before.
not
Yeah.
everybody, like some people will be peopled out at events, or they're like, do you know what? I just need to be drawn to a calm.
Yes.
Whereas I'll be like in the corner dancing with the girls, getting selfies in, like crying, laughing, blah blah, like energy, energy,
Yeah.
energy. his will be like, he's my rock. And God, this could be a whole other podcast in itself, but that man has healed me in so many ways that I didn't even know. And God, I'm going to cry, that I needed healing.
Oh,
And I
Yeah.
think for a lot of our women as well, a lot of them might not have that positive male role model in their
Yeah.
lives, or they might have tension or different things going on. And Jeff has been so many different roles to me, like without this sounding weird and Freudian, like he's been like a dad to me as well. Like we've pretty much grown up together from being in our early 20s. And just the unconditional love, the support that he's got. He's always got my back. He's such a great dad. He's got such a beautiful, kind soul. And I think in this world in general, but definitely in entrepreneurship, to have somebody like that that's not only got my back, but has got the back of our women, like we are unstoppable together. And
You
I'm
are.
so, so grateful for him.
That is just lovely.
that's
It's going to make me
yeah, I'm
cry in a
gonna cry,
minute.
yeah. Oh, bless you. No, he is amazing though. And I've obviously had the pleasure of working with both of you. So I've had the one-to-one call with Laura, I've had the one-to-one call with Jeff, I've been on those fortnightly, weekly sprints and all of that shebang. And it is amazing what you both bring because, yeah, you're absolutely right. You've both got your different skill sets that you can tap into. It's almost like buy one, get one free.
You know, it is.
It
It is.
is. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And yeah, and then it's also even just from a risk perspective, when you're working on your own, God forbid if you get ill, poorly, if something happens with the kids, you're like, crap, how am I going to keep the show on the road? But it wouldn't be the same. But God forbid if anything happened to me, I don't know, like surgery or whatever else, he could step in and more than keep the show on the
Yeah,
road for at least a good few months. Do you
Well,
know what
he
I mean?
understands the business and he understands your clients and they
Exactly right. And
understand
I
him. Yeah.
for sure. And I love knowing that. Because now that the kids are older, I'm not breastfeeding anymore and stuff. I can start to get out more and I can go to more events and retreats and all of this. And I just love knowing that I've got somebody that can he's got me back. He knows the score. And I'm, again, really blessed, albeit some of it was very intentional, that he more than pulls his weight at home too. Like, I don't need to be, oh, can you do that? And where's this and where's that? He just cracks on. So we've really got that mutual respect and love and like the true essence of a partnership in every sense.
bloody
It's
hell,
not
Laura,
about
you've got a second business here. I think you need to be sending Jeff out there to coach men because I'd love Andy to just not ask and just get on and do it.
I was
You'd make a
uh, I was
fortune.
just thinking women everywhere right now are like shriveling up inside, thinking,
I
oh
want to
God,
do
it sounds amazing.
look, it's not perfect, just to keep it in context. It's never perfect, is it? But actually, I'm really proud of where we are. Like I've got a good one.
Should be.
He's yeah, he's brilliant. But then vice versa, like let's also toot our own horns,
yeah.
ladies. Like we are incredible to be married to as well. Let's be honest. Like I certainly don't want to go and get married again. So for both of us, like we invest in each other, and I try to be the best person that I can be as well for him, because it's not necessarily easy for him to be married to somebody like me who is so vibrant, who is so out there, and I think that takes somebody who has got that inner confidence
Yeah.
and self-belief that actually he doesn't need to compete. We're not competing, we win together. And I think for any relationship, I'm not saying I'm the guru, I am far from it, but I think if you can get on the same wavelength and go, your wins are my wins, and I want to see you happy and thriving, and also we're each responsible for our own happiness first and foremost.
100%.
Like it's an inside job, isn't it? We can't
Yeah,
outsource that
Yeah.
expectation that
absolutely.
our other halves, whether it be in romantic relationships, friendships, family relationships, we've got to take that radical responsibility for ourselves first.
Absolutely.
And business aside, Laura, like you and Jeff aside, working together, that's just great marriage advice.
Yeah.
Like the way you guys are working together, let's pretend Jeff wasn't even, part of the business. That just shows how a couple has to come together and be a team. That your win is my win.
Yeah,
That's
completely.
lovely. You don't have to be in business together to feel that way.
No, not at all.
That's
Certainly
lovely.
not. Yeah, thanks, darling. It's times, isn't there? Like in any relationship where one person might have the foot on the gas more and the other person's got to take a
Yeah,
step back.
yeah,
But it'll happen. Everybody can have their own time. And I think what I've been fortunate about is that there's very few times where we've truly locked horns as such. And even if I think back to our early days in our early 20s, before we were even engaged, considering I was this like northerner, I thought I was on Sex in the City, like I was leaving my hometown, I was going out there into the big bad world. And then I'd met Jeff just before I left. And I still remember saying to him on our first date, I don't want anything serious. This is just a summer fling, okay? And he was like, okay. 20 years later and 3 kids later.
Still
But
getting
also,
flung.
I know I had opportunities to work in America. I had opportunity to live in Barcelona. And I turned that down. And for me, being a feisty, independent woman who at that time didn't trust men, didn't have positive male role models, I had to really grapple with, oh my God, Laura, you're selling out. Like, you're choosing love over your career. You said you would never do that. You were never going to be dependent on a man, blah, blah, blah. But I think I knew deep down in that moment that this was a really good decision because I would benefit from having that future husband and that future dad. And I've always been on the up. I've always been grown. I never like let the grass grow under my feet. But I think even in my early 20s, I had this like wild bit of calmness and insight almost to go make the decision based on actually your true happiness and based on love rather than thinking you've got to be the career girl like over and over again. I still can't believe I did that, to be honest.
Well, can we just touch on this if you don't mind, Laura? I don't want to pry too much, but me and you have had a conversation about daddy issues.
Yeah.
And we done an episode on my dad and my daddy issue.
Yeah.
And Debs didn't have the best male role model either. So I think we've all
No.
got that in common. But one thing I wanted to ask you, do you think, because we agreed with us it did, firstly, did that drive you to do better and be better because you thought, I've got to look after myself? No, man, I'm no daddy's little princess. I've got to look after number one. And I also want to break that chain of the very, maybe even poverty sort of
Yeah, the
where
generation.
the generational pop, the working class, the struggling, because I certainly had a struggling household. I know Debs
Yeah,
did. Um,
100%.
only you can make that change and better yourself. And with me, it was like, well, no dad is going to really, support me and push me. So I'm just going to become extra masculine and do it myself. So it's almost like I embedded the masculinity that I lacked from a dad into myself to push myself on.
Yeah.
I'd done the same thing. I left Liverpool with the clothes on my back and a suitcase, and I moved to London without, I knew one person I knew. And, I think there's a lot to be said for the women that have had the lack of father figure growing up, how they then push themselves to succeed. Do you think that's
Yeah.
been something that's really driven you?
Absolutely. And I think it could be father or mother figure. Like, I never realized there's such a thing called the mother wound as well. I think 'cause I've been so blessed to have like the best mum in the world. I think
Yeah.
it can be either parent. But yeah, for sure, in my case, knowing that everything that we struggled with growing up, like divorce, court cases,
Mm.
child payments, was so volatile and all
Yeah.
of that uncertainty, I knew that I didn't want that for my kids, the same as you ladies, and I bet a lot of other people listening right now. So absolutely, that made me so driven.
Mm.
And when you talk about motivation, sometimes it's a case of not just are you running towards, it's what are you running from? And
100%.
what I am still now running from is, and I hope I don't embarrass my mum by sharing this, but it's things like when I go to pay for something, is my card going to work? Like even now, and I know I've got
Hmm.
money in the bank,
Yeah.
there's still, every time I get my phone out to tap, every time it still goes through my mind. So it's like, it's stuff that's hardwired into me DNA
Yeah.
from growing up. And I'm sure we've all got loads of
Yeah.
examples of that where it becomes part of our fabric of stuff that we didn't have that we desperately wanted. And ultimately, before you do anything in life and thrive, you need that. It's like the hierarchy, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need that base level safety taken care of.
Yeah.
You're going to find it very difficult to be truly thriving if you've got real concerns about your physical safeties, your financial safety, and all the rest of it. So yeah, for sure, that massively put fire in my belly. And it's one of the reasons why, even at university, I had 3 jobs. I couldn't go on like the rugby tour at university because I couldn't afford it for one, and I was always working. But again, it's made me who I am. And I think now it really, that fieriness, that hot-headedness that I definitely had in my late teens, where again, I would be attracted to, I didn't know this label at the time, the narcissists,
Yeah.
like the life and shows of the party, because I thought, oh, like, do you know what I mean? He's going to be amazing. He's going to save me. And
Yeah.
then gradually, one by one, unfortunately, those men slash boys would try and clip my wings and want
Yes.
me to be the very opposite of what I
Yeah.
was. So to find somebody like a Jeff and a Ryan and Andy who can see us for who we are and love us for that and not want to change us, God, if we find somebody like that, we've got a responsibility to do the work as well and grow together as a couple when we never had that potentially as an option when we were kids to see that in action.
Definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
Wow. Well,
How
we
lovely.
could go on for another hour, really.
I think we need to get them on together, one
Yeah.
episode.
Oh,
I think
that'd
it'd
be
be really good.
cool.
I would like to interview Jeff
Yes.
more so
Definitely.
about working with Laura and
Yeah.
being married to
Let's
Laura.
do
That'd be
it.
really, really good.
Absolutely.
Because yeah, we could talk to you all day, every day. Anyway,
So I've got one last question before we wrap it up, Laura. I hope we're okay. So what
Absolutely
is
go for it.
next?
I was going to ask that. I didn't even write it
What
down.
is next for Laura, Jeff, and the whole Ignited?
Thank you. Well, from a business perspective, we are actually in full-on scaling mode. So we are doing what we're doing. We already do it well in terms of the one-to-one coaching, the group, and the events, but we want to reach more women. Like we're so clear on a world where women have more access to money and equals they have more choice. And when women have more choice and freedom, the world is a better place. So we're so fired up by wanting to help with more women than ever. Equally, we're also in a bit of the messy middle where you go from things feeling relatively safe-ish to we're challenging ourselves now. And we're in that stage of growth where we're like, what got us here isn't going to get us to there.
Yeah.
So look out. I think there will be changes that are coming.
Ooh.
We are still going to be doing, for example, the Soup Connector, our completely free monthly online networking space. We've always said we're never going to monetize or charge for that. That's so beautiful. So we want to do more really great work. We also need to make some more investments in team members. And we also need to make sure that we're constantly keeping an eye on our own mindset. Because when you start to go bigger and bigger, the risk of failure is bigger, like the odds are higher. And also,
Yeah.
if you fall on your face, you're going to do it in front of a lot more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that's the challenge. We're here for it. And we're also trying, or we will also do that by being present parents. We're not perfect by any shot, but we've basically got a term time business. We work 9:15 till 3:15, 4 days a week. We take pretty much all of the 6 weeks holidays off, the half terms, all of that. So to be able to do that and at this point in time have like £250,000 business, I still pinch myself that being
Wow.
able to do that. So bring it on. Let's see what
Yeah.
comes next.
Love it.
It's
Love
been
it.
amazing. I knew this was going to be an
Oh, I
interesting
did.
chat, and it
Yeah.
has been. And as I said, we could talk to you for ages, but we have run out of time. So
I feel really motivated. Every time I speak to Laura, I feel motivated. And I
I
felt really
know.
slumpy this morning.
We need to do, Laura. You just need to just record little sound bites of yourselves, and then we can just all have them on our phone. And when we're feeling down, we can just have a bit of
Just,
Laura and
well, come
listen.
to my Instagram stories for that, babe. They'll be on
Yeah.
there.
But before we do go, Laura, where can people find you? So I think we've sort of, outlined what your target customer is. Ladies who'd like to know more, where can they find you?
LinkedIn, Instagram, drop me an email, laura@laurabrunton.com. You'll be able to find me somewhere. I'd
Yeah,
love to
we'll
hear from
drop all
you.
that on our description and on our
Yeah.
Instagram.
Put your
So
sunglasses on, peeps.
yeah.
There's a lot of pink. There's a lot of glitz.
Exactly. I am not for the wallflowers. That's to be said, is
Absolutely not.
it?
So, Alex, I think we need to wrap this up
We
and say
do.
thank you so much, Laura, for joining us. It's been an
We know how
absolute
busy you
pleasure.
are, so
So, yeah,
yeah.
and for now, we are heart full, mind heavy,
North,
and south, unfiltered.
unfiltered.